Hi, everybody. Welcome back, and thanks for spending a little time with us. I hope you're joining us after what was a wonderful weekend, weather and otherwise. On the weather-related note, just a glimpse ahead. Well, for the most part, warm and dry air above, and that is for the most part. It is going to be a summer-like forecast for, well, a big week here in McGoffin County. Heritage Day Festival begins 48 hours now, just a little bit less officially beginning. And, of course, while we've got a full week of programming this week, next week not so much because the Labor Day weekend is upon us. And we'll be having Monday off, like I hope everyone else will as well. So we'll be talking about the Heritage Day Festival tonight, and I'm sure some of those events will make their way into headlines a little later on in the week. From Johnson County, a fugitive who was sought for federal charges or related to federal charges and a condition of her release that she violated has left Johnson County authorities who apprehended her over the weekend wondering how she was already bonded out of jail earlier this morning. A big day in Johnson County tomorrow, a housing fair and some other associated information I need to pass along, and we need to talk about football passing along. We'll have some highlights for you and some scores to see how everyone has done in week 1 or 2, depending on where you go. We'll get to all of that and more in just a few seconds. Only a couple of things elsewhere. It was in Hazard today where the governor, Hal Rogers, local and state leaders from all across Kentucky ascended to talk about dependable, high-speed internet, which will be brought to the entire state. Every county in the state of Kentucky will have fast, dependable internet service called the iWay. This Kentucky project, Kentucky Wired project, known as or dubbed the iWay, will actually begin in eastern Kentucky next year. From there, it will expand to all of the Commonwealth. The estimated cost, some $325 million. So far, the Kentucky General Assembly has put in about $30 million of that, and we also know federal funding has reached about $25 million, and they hope to, well, they have already reached out to, successfully, mind you, several partners who will be funding the remainder of that project for the most part. It is set to begin sometime, like I said, a little later on next year, and they hope a short time thereafter, in all reality, a few years thereafter, each and every county will have dependable, accessible, high-speed internet for, of course, further economic growth, education, and so much more. There was a lawsuit filed late last week. We've learned about it this morning after summonses were issued to the respective parties. William Smith Jr. and James Yates, their names may be becoming familiar to you because they're the gay couple in Round County who have tried 3 times unsuccessfully each time to get a marriage license in Kim David's clerk's office. They made that last attempt last Thursday and since then have filed the lawsuit. We know that they also sought legal advice from the Round County attorney. He referred them to the Attorney General's office. They say that they are reviewing the matter and the material right now. However, no indication as to whether or not they will get involved. But the U.S. District Judge David Bunning, of course, we know has already gotten involved, and he ordered Davis to issue marriage licenses 2 weeks ago, and then he later delayed that ruling until today's date, the end of day today, or until the U.S. Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals issued a ruling on their behalf, and they did so Wednesday of last week, but the stay was in effect till today. It is still unclear as to whether or not she will issue marriage licenses tomorrow. It is greatly expected that she will not, and then that there will be some sort of legal repercussions thereafter. We'll have more on that tomorrow. Locally, Johnson County officials tell me that deputies responding to a complaint of an altercation between 2 twin sisters resulted in the arrest of a woman who has a Johnson County address and who was also considered to be a fugitive after she violated charges of her federal release. It's also interesting to note that authorities in Johnson County are trying to determine how she was released from the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center after posting bond after she was sought after for so long by federal authorities. Johnson County Sheriff's Deputy Tim Clark told me in a telephone conversation just a few moments ago that he responded to an altercation in the Mealy area of Johnson County yesterday afternoon shortly after 2 when his shift first began. Upon arrival, he said he was also assisted by Constable Bob Hyden. The two were there to respond to an altercation between 2 sisters, one of which, seen here, was identified by law enforcement to us as Terry Lynn Lackey. According to Deputy Clark, Lackey and her twin sister had gotten into an argument or altercation at a residence that her sister and mother were either residing at or staying at, and upon hearing that law enforcement had been called and were soon to arrive, Terry Lynn Lackey fled the residence on foot and into the hills behind. It was about an hour and a half later that Deputy Tim Clark says that they would find her about 2 miles from that residence, also in the hills next to the roadway. It was then that she was taken into custody.
And it was after that that Deputy Clark said that he learned that there was an arrest warrant issued in Lackey's name, issued on the 6th day of this month, for violating conditions of her supervised release. That arrest warrant issued by the U.S. District Court, the Eastern District of Kentucky, on federal drug-related charges. The charges exactly are unknown. What was also unknown was how she was bonded out. Clark and other deputies surprised to hear that after, or less than 24 hours later, after being taken into custody, after being sought by the U.S. District Court, that she was bonded out of the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center. Her location at this time was still unknown, and or was the conditions of her release.
For many Johnson County residents, it may take a lifetime to recover from the flooding that, of course, claimed 6 lives in Johnson County, and for some, they may never do so. But tomorrow is another step in the right direction. There's a housing fair set for tomorrow. A host of agencies will be on hand very early in the morning until late tomorrow evening, more than 12 hours, to offer their services and assistance with those who were so terribly affected by the flash flooding that tore through Flat Gap and Route 172 back in July. It's at the Disaster Recovery Center on Taze Branch Road, and these are some of the representatives that will be there.
And if you're unfamiliar with the Disaster Recovery Center or Taze Branch Road, for the best way for me to describe it would be to say that when you're coming into Johnson County there in front of the Hutch dealerships, to go straight through the light there on 40, and it's just a short distance on your left after you go through that intersection. But the Johnson County Housing Fair starts bright and early tomorrow, 6:30 in the morning to 8:30 tomorrow night at that Disaster Recovery Center. And the organizations that will be there: FEMA, Housing and Urban Development, HUD, Frontier Housing, Kentucky Housing Corporation, Rural Development, Federation of Appalachian Housing Enterprises, FAHE for short, Federal Home Loan Bank, Department of Local Government, Big Sandy Ad Board, the Big Sandy Community Action Agency, the Christian Appalachian Project, and Smart MH Alliance. All those and possibly some other agencies will be there. If you have lost your home as a result of the recent storms, regardless of your income, you're encouraged to attend this meeting and find out what assistance they can offer. Once again, tomorrow, 6:30 in the morning to 8:30 tomorrow evening at Taze Branch Road in Paintsville at the Disaster Recovery Center. One of their main goals, to provide you with necessary information regarding assistance with your short-term and with your long-term permanent housing options. I'll be right back with more headlines in just a minute. To get high-speed internet on their state-of-the-art fiber optic network for all of your home and business solutions, or to watch TV without a contract on over 200 digital channels with superb quality, or stay connected with family and friends with 24/7 telephone service you can always depend on, contact Foothills Broadband today. Or just click on their link to the right to find out how they're working to provide the latest in communications at affordable prices with exceptional service at Foothills Broadband. Going back to Johnson County, and with a few other flooding or natural disaster announcements, in addition to the Johnson County Housing Fair, which again is set for tomorrow at the Disaster Recovery Center, 6:30 in the morning till 8:30 tomorrow evening. Today began the last push, at least by one entity, that being the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, to collect debris along Route 172 and, of course, adjacent routes. And also there have been some more counties which have been approved for federal assistance, as was Johnson, Rowan, and a few others.
And on a related note, this morning began the very final round of garbage collection or debris pickup on behalf of the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. Now, those efforts will continue throughout this week along, of course, Kentucky 172 and Route 1559, 3214, and 689. They'll be picking up construction material and debris, building materials, drywall, lumber, carpet, furniture, plumbing items, things of that nature. And that is the last round for that particular entity for cleanup efforts. It's also worthy of note that, of course, the President of the United States declared Kentucky a major disaster area back on the 12th of this month, and that opened up assistance to Carter, Johnson, Rowan, and Trimble counties, and now that has been amended to include 3 additional counties. Breathitt, Fleming, and Perry counties are also now eligible for the individual assistance program per the disaster assistance recovery efforts. You can, of course, go to disasterassistance.gov or call their toll-free number at 800-621-3362 to find out more. Heritage Days, can you believe it? It's that time. September's here tomorrow. Heritage Days is less than 48 hours around the corner. We'll talk about all of that right after this. While undoubtedly some of the following events are going to make their way into headlines this week and early next as well, we need to make mention of the Heritage Day schedule. It's just hard to believe, but it's here. Less than 48 hours. It all begins with a whole lot of cute little babies after, of course, some opening ceremonies.
That's right. September the 2nd through the 6th, Wednesday through Sunday, the 2015 Montgomery County Heritage Days Festival, sponsored by the City of Sagersville, with all sorts of foods and crafts and activities and events, a complete list thereof. And it all starts this Wednesday. The opening ceremony with the Montgomery County DAV and muzzleloader and some local officials is 6 o'clock this Wednesday. It will be brief and immediately followed by the baby contest, and that's for those cute little ones 3 years of age and younger, directed by Abby Conley and Jessica Howard. That, of course, will be there at the cabins, and they're on the stage, of course. Lawn chairs will be filling this green space very, very soon. So the baby contests follow opening ceremonies. Wednesday at 6 for the opening ceremony, 6:30 for the baby contests. There will be all sorts of craft booths thereafter throughout most of the festival inside the Lloyd M. Hall Community Center. Thursday, they'll be there from noon till 6. Be sure and walk in and check them out. Now, the only thing else really happening Thursday after that will be that evening after the craft booths, which is an all-day and afternoon event from noon till 6, basically. Well, the Little Miss and Little Master pageants, and that's for those cute little ones who are 4 to 12 years of age, and those begin at 6 o'clock, and then, of course, the Miss Teen Montgomery County pageant will start at 8 o'clock Thursday night. Pretty much tradition. Not any changes here to speak of, but there are some new things that we'll make mention of in a second when we get to some names and a few other specifics. As for Friday's events, the craft booths open up at 8 o'clock Friday morning, run throughout 6 in the afternoon. The annual 4-H Pet Show is always a big draw. That starts at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, mind you, and that will, of course, be on the cabin stage. They're having a book signing with several Kentucky authors starting at 10 that morning till 2. Al Cornett, Patty Auksher, Tim Callahan, Vivian Ward Crump, Rebecca Mahalan, Donald Curtis, Catherine Lowry Logan, and Ann Gilbert signing in the front of the community center there on the lawn starting at 10 o'clock Friday morning. Now, a little later on down the line on Friday, the Montgomery County school events, of course, you know what those are, parents. It's going to be my first year in a long time that I haven't been a part of that. That's going to take a little bit of getting used to. Amazing how you miss some things. So school events starting at noon on Friday, and then now thereafter, later on that evening, there'll be a big gap in there, which you can, of course, find something good to eat and all sorts of things to do to entertain yourself. 6 o'clock that evening, it will be the look-alike contest, mother, daughter, father-son look-alike contest, and the talent showcase starting at 6, and that is Friday evening leading up to Miss Montgomery County. That pageant, we'll be talking to you about our contestants for Miss Teen and Miss Montgomery later on in the week, but the Miss Montgomery County pageant set for, and I had that at 8. It is at 8:30. I'll change that. 8:30 for the pageant start time this Friday night. Saturday, the craft booths will start from 8 in the morning, go to 6. The Kiwanis 5K race. The race starts at 9 at the Catholic Church on the Parkway Drive. The run is free, open to everyone, and everyone that participates gets a free T-shirt. The Heritage Days Parade will start at 1 o'clock. The Grand Marshals have been named as A.B. Conley, Randall Reisner, Jack Sizemore, Ben Gardner, Henry Joseph, and Carlotta Howard. An honorary Grand Marshal has been announced as Betty Jo Likens, who's also the parade announcer. No off-road vehicles in the parade for Founders Day, and a street dance in the streets under the red light or near to will wrap up Saturday's events in downtown Sagersville. Wendell Hoskins, of course, calling, the Joseph Band playing, and it starts at 8 o'clock. And the last order of business will be church services at the Pioneer Village Church House in memory, this time, of Buster Blanton, sponsored by the Montgomery County Historical Society. Those services will start at 10. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. From here on out, you're on your own. Take in as much as you can. We can't show it all. We'll find some cute faces and a few things to see, I'm sure. And it looks to be a wonderful week full of fun things to do. The weather warm, but mostly dry. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on. Now going on to calendar announcements from Samantha, Jeff, and the kids, from Neela's, from the kids, grandkids, great-grandkids, and a whole lot of family and friends. Whew, long list. They must love you lots, Reva. Happy 81st birthday to Reva Marshall from a whole lot, and I do mean a whole lot. Several calls coming in to wish you well on your special day. Happy 81st birthday to Reva Marshall. An announcement from our friends over at the Kearney Free Will Baptist Church. There won't be any picking and grinning this Saturday due to the Heritage Day festivities and the holiday weekend. So just wanted to give you a reminder. They say Happy Heritage and Labor Day, though. The first annual horse show will take place Saturday the 5th down in West Liberty. This is sponsored by the Middle Fork Volunteer Fire Department, located on Liberty Road. They've got great food and great cash paybacks. Come out and support a great fire department. If you have any questions, call Rick or Vivian Deaton at 349-3835. So big horse show set for this Saturday, 6 p.m. in West Liberty, being put together by the Middle Fork Volunteer Fire Department. And I've got a special announcement here. It's not until the 27th of September, so I'll mention it a few times, but I want to make sure I gave you time to put it on your calendar. It's a cancer benefit bike ride in honor of Luke Lewis and Ivan Howard, because no one fights alone. Set for Sunday, September the 27th. They're going to leave the Ramey Park in Sayersville, ride to the Red River Gorge, and back to the park. They'll have food and refreshments, a $20 registration fee per motorcycle. And if you don't have a motorcycle, no problem. You can still put in your $20 and get in for the door prize drawings. Registration will start at 9:30 that morning. Kickstands up are at 11, and any and all donations are appreciated. Not until September the 27th, but I want to make sure I mentioned it. And, of course, I'll have those phone numbers there on the bottom of your screen a little later on. And I know I'm getting hoarse and losing my voice. Allergies are just about to, take me out, to be quite honest. The Kentucky Blood Center's got a blood drive. This is also not coming up until 1 week from this Wednesday. I want to mention it a couple of times because we'll be off on that Monday. So not this Wednesday, but next is the next McGoffin County Community Blood Drive, 12:30 to 5 o'clock. I will remind you, but just to let you know, that's when the next one has been set. I'm going to get a drink of water and recoup my voice just for a second, but only right after saying that if you've got a calendar announcement, birthday, or anniversary, or otherwise, send them to us. We'll tell everyone about them, and this is how you get them on the show.
The weather forecast is setting the stage for a warm and mostly dry week, and I do stress mostly. There are some shower chances in your forecast between now and the end of your Labor Day holiday. We'll get to that in just a second. Let's right now, as we will be doing for the next 8 weeks thereafter, and give or take, depending on some postseason action as well, football scores from this past Friday night,
which was the first kickoff for Coach Jim Matney and his Golden Eagles of Johnson Central in Class 4A football. They were on the road, traveled to Fairland, that's in Proctorville, Ohio, and came back with a win, 41-6, 1-0, obviously, on the very young season. Now that puts them also back on the road. They're traveling to Lexington Catholic this Friday night. Kickoff, unless otherwise noted, for all games, 7:30. We'll get to our McGoffin County Hornets in just a second. As for Morgan County and Coach Turner and his Cougars, it was also their season opener, and it was at home. They hosted Betsy Lane, a scoreless Betsy Lane, 56-0. They'll be at Allen Central this Friday night, where the Cougars take on Allen Central, looking to go 2-0 on the early season. And the second-ranked inside linebacker, who delighted UK fans and Paintsville Tigers fans alike, Cash Daniel and his Tigers had a shutout against Frankfort on the road, 43-0. That's after a 46-12 romp of Sheldon Clark in their season opener. That puts the Paintsville Tigers at home hosting Pikeville Friday night. That looks to be a good game. 2-0, 1-0 in the region for Coach Joe Shuriko and his Tigers. Now to the home team for McGoffin County Hornets fans. Their home opener of the season, a district game right off the bat, hosting Estill County. They knew who was coming to town. They make this drive down to the 1-yard line, followed by that play by Dalton Peters. He runs it in for the touchdown, and that will be one of the only 2 times that they would cross the line for a score. The second will be going for the extra point. Quarterback Ryan Mullins once again takes the ball, takes a little jaunt, finds Brady Whitaker, and he comes down to land for 2. And after 4 quarters of play, they came up short, 48-8 final score. The Hornets are now 0-2. That comes after a scoreless loss on the road, 0-44 against Leslie County. Now their next game this Friday night will be on the road at Shelby Valley. They won't be back home until the 11th, where they're hosting Betsy Lane. Now, looking ahead at your forecast through Friday night football and your holiday weekend, we have to first cover several days that kind of get in the way in the middle of all that. Tonight's low is expected to be right around 68. No showers in the forecast for us in the forecast area, I should say. Nothing in the viewing area at this time, but clouds will continue to hover, mostly cloudy skies, calm winds, and we will see some fog rolling in tonight. And that will, of course, as I said, be accompanied by the upper 60s for nighttime lows. That fog tonight means, well, fog in the AM on your Tuesday up until around 8 o'clock, probably 9 for some folks. Otherwise, we'll see partly sunny skies. And the summer temperatures are back, and humidity levels are also going to make you feel a bit warmer than what the temperature actually indicates or dictates. Partly sunny, partly cloudy late tomorrow night. Close to 70 for nighttime lows. It's going to be a little bit muggy. And, of course, as we get later on into the forecast, we'll work in a chance of some showers, but not on Wednesday. A little fog at the onset, mostly sunny, mid-80s again, upper 60s for nighttime lows, partly cloudy. Nice, warm, maybe a little warmer than what you would like. I don't know. We can't make everyone happy. We've had cool air to the tune of some beautiful fall-like conditions, and now we're back to summer. It's just a roller coaster ride. That continues on your Thursday with 86 degrees, more sunshine above, partly cloudy skies late, pretty much ditto. I mean, we're talking about mid-80s, upper 60s for nighttime lows. The chances of showers and thunderstorms, really, I don't have them until your weekend, of course. Not a drop in sight the rest of the week for the viewing area. Temperatures increase Friday, 88 for the highs, 67 for the low. Mostly sunny skies on your Friday. And, of course, that will be a big day, Thursday and Friday. And, of course, Wednesday night for the pageants and the opening ceremonies for the Heritage Day Festival. So it's going to be warm out. You won't have to worry too much about a jacket. I do not believe for any of it. As for a rain jacket, I don't even think so much on your Saturday. A 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms, but mostly sunny. Mid to upper 80s again, mid to upper 60s again. That's not a real great threat of showers and thunderstorms, and not enough to really cancel any plans, I don't think, at all. At all. Sunday, it creeps up to 30%. Little fog, mid 80s, partly sunny. I mean, we're talking about a few chances of a few showers and storms Saturday and Sunday, and it's slight at most. Other than that, we've just got warm, dry air all week long, taking us into your Labor Day weekend. We'll talk about Labor Day's forecast. I know a lot of folks are anxiously awaiting to see if they can enjoy their day off outside. We'll have that for you with more news and weather information tomorrow.
I've got a couple of pages here. That's my to-do list for the rest of the week. We'll be talking with some folks about the bridge being built as the construction has officially begun in the Oakley area over Oakley Road for the Dawkins Rail Trail. And I don't know if we'll get to it this week, but there is a very special report coming up about recognition of a very special McGoffin County war veteran. And that will be one of our focuses as well. And I've got a long list, so we hope to see you back here when we start with it next time for more of Your News Today. Good night, and thanks for watching.